It's live time, baby. We're back. And better than ever. Ready to give you fans the content that you crave. Oh, I just got a notification on my phone that I'm live. I'm notifying myself that I'm live. Maybe I'll tune in on the phone just to give myself a viewer. Sure, I'll tune into myself. Why not? I'll support myself. There it is. There I am. There was an interesting video with go ahead and like that too. Does it count if you watch it yourself? You can like yourself. Oh, there I am. There's my one viewer. All right, so we'll just leave that on. I'm plugged in. What the hell? What else? I'll give myself some free watch time. I've got a new phone coming on Monday. I'll get into that. It's a debacle. I was watching. There was this interview with Chris Gethard. I didn't really watch the whole interview, but this clip popped up in my feed about how well, his whole thing is about how there's no middle class comedians or something, which boo-hoo. But his whole thing was like DIY has kind of been co-opted by YouTube, or like that's what we think. We think because we're like making content that's like DIY, when in reality, like YouTube is Google, like literally. And I mean, I would argue that's what the internet kind of has. His point was like his own career, like, right, he's been on The Office, he's had small parts in a lot of different things, TV shows, he's been in movies, he was a writer on Saturday Night Live. So it's like he was able to buy a house and like sort of have a kid or whatever. Being, I don't know, he's sort of like Gen X, Xennial. I think he's probably a few years older than me. Chris Gethard's probably, what, 45 or something? Let's see. Yeah, he's 45. May 23rd, 1980. So he was able to sort of have a little bit of a middle-class career as a comedian, where like he wasn't fucking Seinfeld or something. He wasn't Dave Chappelle, but he was able to sort of do okay for himself. He had his own show. He was on Broadway. Whereas like the idea is now there's no fucking shows that are shooting. They shoot a lot less episodes. You know, these prestige television shows are like 6 episodes, maybe 10 or something, 8 or 10. TV show used to be 22 fucking episodes. There used to be all these union jobs. And if you got a job on a sitcom or something, it's like you'd be set for life. Those things are fewer and further between in the entertainment industry now. I think that's, this is one of the reasons why LA is dying, because that whole town was full of like people who worked on TV shows, production people, union crew people, camera people. Now it's like there's been a completely hollowing out of everything because of disruption through the phones and, basically industry takeover of Hollywood by digital media, or, digital Netflix, Larry Ellison's kid, streaming. And I think they like that. I think they like that they're able to like destroy Hollywood. The digital kind of like fascists, the ultra right wing South African neo-Nazi overlords. They like that they can fucking destroy Hollywood while they're taking over the media. They can put people like Alec Baldwin or Sean Penn, Michael Moore, all the outspoken libtards of Hollywood. How did I start talking about this? I wa- well, the idea that YouTube is like this sort of like faux DIY. The idea that like we're pouring all of this time and energy into working for Big Brother, actually. And in fact, all of this content is surveillance. It's not really content. It's like spying on each other. It's voyeurism. As we've talked about before, it's voyeuristic. And is it really like artistic? Is it really like film? Um, I think I heard somebody say like art is analog, content is digital. Anything that happens in the feed is sort of like by virtue like not artistic, it's not analog, it is just like meant to like get views and go away, disappear. It doesn't last. It's extremely ephemeral. It's just sort of like the surge and the gush of like the attention streams, the news feed. Bob Weir died, right? I don't know if people really even know who the fuck Bob Weir is, unless they're into Dead and Company, I guess. But R.I.P. Bob Weir. We'll talk about that. We're going to get into that. I guess it was interesting to see that Chris Gethard interview because I am somebody, I suppose, that leans pretty hard into YouTube, especially as like this sort of like DIY outlet. I mean, to me, I don't know why DIY it feels ethical, it feels right, human beings just making things for themselves, for the people around them. What to me the physical IRL correspondence is sort of like the more important part. Open mic shows, zines, hanging out, whatever it is. And that's like the real DIY, doing house parties or starting kind of like in a movement amongst friends. And then YouTube, I don't necessarily feel like just because Google owns it, I don't necessarily feel like it's a bad or like something you should disavow or like not do. Um, so far, YouTube seems relatively ethical and like, you know, um, they allow you to just share whatever you want to share. And so it feels useful to me as like a utility, as like sort of a global gallery or public access type station, and sort of occupying it is not a bad thing. I saw there's some like online public access streaming station like 8 Ball TV. I don't know if people know 8 Ball TV, but 8 Ball was like a zine fair. They like make zines. I don't know. They probably all went to fucking Bard or SUNY Purchase or something. But anyway, there in New York, there's this organization called 8 Ball, and they make zines, but they also have a website. I think it's 8ball.tv, and it's basically like an online 24/7. It's a public access station in theory. And they claim they'll air anything. But when I sent them my TV show, I think it was too uh sophomoric for them or something. I don't know. Um, but in any case, somebody just started a news station that's sort of like that. It's just like a 24/7 streaming, but it's like curated. It's something like New York TV or something. So I don't know if that's the future, is like alternative streaming. To me, to host video and to stream video, it's like that's not really something that like your average person has capability for. You kind of have to piggyback onto one of these services, whether it's Twitch, whether it's uh Vimeo, whether it's TikTok, whatever it is. I suppose you don't really have to participate. You don't have to stream. You don't have to vlog. Theoretically, I guess if you made like a film, you'd probably go to, I don't know, No Budge, or I guess you might post it on Vimeo. Vimeo is sort of like the more legitimate filmmaker platform. But to me, it's like we are taking something that is, perhaps like a Big Brother kind of corporate surveillance tool, and trying to use it for a good purpose. I don't think that that's a bad thing. It's free. The relative cost, what they're taking from us and what we're getting in exchange, feels like a not horrible deal. Like YouTube, and I've talked about this, I guess, probably at length, but it does feel more ethical than Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at this point. I mean, maybe they're all the same, more or less. Maybe there has been sort of like a right wing takeover of all of the media, whether it's, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the shit I just mentioned, CBS News, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Discovery, YouTube. I mean, YouTube is not really like a hippie left wing. It's pretty right wing, if you ask me. And, uh, I'm sure there are bad things about YouTube that we should not be like contributing to, but uh I don't know. It hasn't gotten to the point that I'm ready to give up my YouTube. I'm still like obviously I'm still like kind of a cringe devoted YouTuber. All right, I'm signing off on my phone, so now the views we get will be real. Somebody was watching for a second, but they left. Saturday night. I mean, it's like a wintry mix outside, so it's not really that nice out. So, for better or for worse, I think I have a number of things coming up this week. Monday, Wednesday, we might go see Marty Supreme. I mean, I think this is sort of part of a bigger question, which is like, how do we organize in a meaningful way these days? Like it's easy. It's nice to organize offline and in person and communicate that way, but like uh there's simultaneously this other world of the internet and cyberspace and sort of your online community. But as we're finding, that space is more and more kind of like monopolized and just like owned by these kind of evil racist fascists who want to kill all of us. And so, what does that mean? What do we do? Fucking burn DVDs of our vlogs, go analog, start trading VHS tapes. Ashley got a flip phone. The new luxury is being offline. So I don't know. I still am like amazed and I mean particularly post pandemic. The pandemic kind of initiated everybody and enabled everybody to be online, streaming, going live, watching streams. It normalized Zoom meetings, cyberspace, and the metaverse in a way as sort of the premier site of or at least like a site of culture, a significant site of culture. Look at things like the database of like Zoom events that people recorded and fucking like posted on YouTube. And it's weird that Zoom is also just like a meeting. Like you can post it on YouTube like it's like a video that you made and like a reading or an event or a performance sort of, but it's also just like a meeting software, like for fucking corporate meeting or something. And I think it is, meetings are important as much as people hate meetings, like getting people together in a room uh, is like the foundation and like the keystone of coordinating and just getting things done. Um, so it's sort of bifurcated. It's something that can happen online. It's something that can happen in person. And they're both kind of effective. With this, I know I have people that come up to me and tell me that they watch it. And so it feels like it's worth doing. Like, this is something that's not that easy to do in person. It's not that easy to just talk for 2 hours and get any, like, no venue would allow me to do this. Like, at most, they're going to give a slot that's like 40 minutes to somebody. But I can do it online and people can check it out if they want to. They can watch it at their convenience wherever they are. I mean, it's Saturday night. Maybe people are out partying, I guess. It's kind of crappy outside. I don't know. Uh, so, I mean, how do you DIY? I mean, that doesn't make Instagram DIY. That doesn't make Twitter DIY. But it's interesting because it does have that philosophy or something. It's almost like built on that. It's interesting how much of the internet or how much of computers is sort of about co-opting our creativity or our urge to be like artists, performers, celebrities. It should be fun, and it is fun in a way. I think Chris Gethard is being a little bit of a, I mean, is it the most ethical thing in the world, or is it like, you know, uh are we getting paid what we deserve? Is it like a career? It's interesting that he says like the middle class comedian is dead, because to me it seems like there's probably more people making a living as comedians or as maybe not musicians, but like, if you're a comedian and you post Instagram reels, if you post, there's all these fucking podcasters that are like super rich. Like, maybe there's more of a divide between people who are successful and people who aren't, but like, It seems to me like there's probably way more opportunity for comedians than like there probably ever has been. You can be your own boss. Like you can just be sort of like a New York club comedian, and you can get 100,000 Instagram followers and go on tour. And I don't know how much money those people are making, but they seem to be doing pretty well by just like filming fucking their act, or even just like a fucking 30-second video of them talking in their apartment or something. It's like they don't even really have to produce, it's like they don't even really have to produce like a show or anything. And so, I mean, does it look like, Kinko's and like a bunch of fucking zines from like, the 90s or the 80s or something in like Oakland? Like, not exactly. But I mean, even Jello Biafra's on fucking YouTube. Thank God he is. I love being able to watch What Would Jello Do and see his fucking 2 cents. Is he going to be Jordan Peterson or something? Like, probably not. But like, you know, YouTube in particular is a pretty hip place. There's a lot of art on YouTube. I hate to like replace IRL with the internet, particularly living in New York, which is like already this conglomerate of opportunities to view culture. And that in a way that's sort of unique in our country. There's probably more culture here than anywhere in maybe the fucking world, or most places anyway. So to spend a bunch of time on like YouTube or on the internet seems kind of insane, or kind of like unethical, or kind of like FOMO, unhealthy. But is this sad that I'm doing this on a Saturday night rather than being out in the world, I don't know, with people? Or I don't know. I guess I should be. I'm 40 years old. I'm almost 41. Something should be out doing something. I should have something going on. I don't even know if my phone is working. I'll get to that in a second. I mean, maybe it's just too lazy and too easy. It seems like that is kind of the miracle of computers. It's like that's what we use them for. Is now it's like it's easier to record music than ever. It's easier to make a film than ever. I mean, even something like this, I mean, technically it's a video. Like, is it the most interesting, cinematic experience you've ever had? Like, probably not, but like it is like a moving picture. And in that sense, I don't know. A Zoom meeting is like a fucking movie. And it's a crazy opportunity that like I can just film myself walking through Central Park and waxing philosophical, telling the tale, creating kind of like a mental word art imprint of the recent past, whatever's going on, my current anxieties, current preoccupations, the narrative of life as we know it going on all around us at hyper speeds at all times. And to me, this is just like poetry. This is exactly like what a poem kind of does, situates you in the now. And kind of incarnates the experience through the appropriate letter clusters. Uh, and so, I use YouTube as a DIY space. I use it almost like a zine. I use it almost, it is like very corporate. It is like very uh homogenous, but if you can get a couple hundred people that stay in touch with you that way, and it's a good opportunity to give people a deeper look if they want that. On stage it's hard to do that. On stage it's hard to get enough time um to really fully express your ideas. The audience brings a pressure with it that it's hard to sort of like pontificate sometimes. Time is money, and you got to be funny or whatever, mind blowing as much as you possibly can be. Whereas, like with this, it's just like, can sort of explore whatever you want to explore. You have time to do that. And so it feels like, I don't know, it feels like one of those things that's almost like too good to be true, to be honest. What would be the substitute for this? There's no precedent for this where it's just like you have expanses of time. You could go live theoretically to like a unlimited audience, and that movie about Godard was a really amazing. The Linklater movie, Nouvelle Vogue. It's on Netflix, and I wanted to see it. I mean, I almost couldn't believe it when I saw the pictures of the production or whatever, the trailer. This Richard Linklater just directed this movie. I watched it last night, Nouvelle Vogue. It was one of those movies that just like, yeah, I'll watch this immediately. I want to see this. Linklater is one of the best artists probably working, frankly. He's definitely a role model. And it's amazing that he's able to sustain this career where he still makes these really interesting movies. Blue Moon, right? Both these movies came out last year, Blue Moon and Nouvelle Vague. And this movie was just kind of a miracle. I mean, Jesus Christ. Uh, he's not doing fucking superhero movies. He's doing indie movies, basically. Still, there's some of those guys that have managed to exist still doing their thing without selling out and turning into marvels or whatever. And so the premise with this Nouvelle Vague movie is it's a movie about the making of Breathless, the Jean-Luc Godard's first movie, which is one of my favorite movies. And to be honest, that might be the movie I watched more than any other, like in college. I would put that movie on all the fucking time, like when I was going to sleep or whatever. And I was thinking about it as I was watching it because a lot of the movie, it really is a amazing film. It's kind of a miracle. The actors are so unbelievably good for their parts. They all look right. They all like are good in their at the acting. It's like this movie is really kind of amazing, especially if you're a fan of Breathless, which is like one of the best movies ever fucking made. But the movie, there's this whole speech by Rossellini in it. They're at Cahiers du Cinema, and Rossellini's giving this speech. And Rossellini was the neo-realist. He was the one who did. I've never seen any of his movies. What is it? Journey to There's Rome Year Zero, right? And then there's Journey to Italy or something. The idea with Rossellini, I guess, was he was sort of like maybe the father of the new wave, or like his idea was more like shooting in the environment, using natural light, using, just doing it. No big production. What the hell did they call? I mean, he was a neo-realist or something, right? Like uh so it's like Rome Year Zero was like right after World War II. He just takes his fucking cameras into the streets. He films it like there's an immediacy to it. There's almost like a documentary realism to it, and that like they're in these environments. That's important. And so there are certain things from Rossellini that like the new wave, I think, adopted as production techniques contra like Hollywood. Hollywood's all about studio and lighting and controlling everything, making everything perfect, set dressing. Rossellini, I don't, like I said, I've never seen any of his fucking movies. This is sort of my basic understanding of it, not knowing real the real story. But in this film, that's kind of how he's situated. Is like it's interesting because Melville is the one in Breathless. And so you'd think Melville was sort of like the role model for Godard, but it makes sense that Rossellini would be because that's more his kind of method. Is this kind of like documentary style, almost like the war, right? Like Raoul Cartard, that's something he says in this movie is he was in the fucking war, shooting film, and so it's like that's how he learned to make films. Was literally he learned in the war. And so Breathless has this sort of run and gun quality to it, where it's made on the streets of Paris. And it's so Godard is sort of listening and absorbing this lecture by Rossellini about here's how you should make a movie. Only shoot when you're inspired, go to the locations, fuck the, whatever. And so you can see how Godard applied that when he made Breathless, and I guess probably all of his movies. But when you learn about it studying film or something, it's like I didn't realize how much of my own like poetics, you would say, are like sort of like Godard, actually, or at least like Breathless. The idea of because when I was younger, I was sort of more partial to Truffaut. I liked the 400 Blows and the kind of smooth finish of it, the romanticism of it. 400 Blows, the technique. They're shooting in real locations, but it's not like lo-fi. There's nobody watching this. Should I keep going? It's important for cinema history. Whereas like Godard, you could easily say that he's like extremely lo-fi. And in fact, I think a lot of the kind of art school people that I knew who were filmmakers, they were really imitating like Breathless. The way that it was like so I guess with Breathless, part of the big revolution of it was the scenes that he had. He basically does this part where he rips out all of like the boring parts, right? So there's all these jump cuts where it's like it'll cut from one thing and then it'll abruptly jam into some moment that's further in time. And the idea was, and it talks about this in the movie, is like he wants to keep all of his scenes, he wants to keep all of the best parts, and he's just going to kind of take the boring parts out. And that's basically what I do in my poetry, or try to do. There's a lot of jump cuts, there's a lot of jamming things together. The idea is to just like take footage when you're inspired. One of the things about Breathless and like a lot of these new wave movies, a lot of these Italian movies, they didn't shoot direct sound. So they would dub the sound later. So it's like it almost doesn't even matter what the actors are saying. It's like the actors can say whatever they want. The director can be by the camera, like yelling, "Hey, do this now. Hey, walk over here. Okay, now do this." And you're going to dub it in later. So it's like Godard could write all the dialogue later and have him record it then. He didn't necessarily have to overwork his material. That's one of the other interesting things about this movie. Is it really dramatizes and shows you this process, this the filmmaking process of Godard, where it's like, excuse me, a lot of these shooting days, he just sent the crew home because he didn't have any ideas. He didn't know what he wanted to shoot. He wasn't inspired. And like, you read about that stuff when you're reading about, oh, how did they make Breathless, or you hear about it and you're like, well, that's kind of, but then you think about it, it's like, that's kind of insane. Like if you were working on a movie, you had 20 days to make it, and the director's just like, we're not doing anything else today. We don't have any ideas. You would be kind of like, what the fuck? What is this? But to me, it's like it's almost more like he's making his movie like a poem. He's approaching it. I mean, the Europeans that I knew that I lived with, that's kind of how they were. It was like they'd kind of sit around smoking, thinking, waiting. And then sometimes they just go home. And then other times it's like the time was right and it was like, then they'd go. If the inspiration was right. And, there's so much dogma and so much schools of thought about filmmaking process and what is the correct way to write a screenplay and what do you have to um how to make a movie, what you need, what the right way to do it is. And I think as a director, as a filmmaker, it's almost as much about that. It's almost as much as like figuring out whatever your process is. They act like there's some like laws about it, but it's more just like you got to get the footage that you need to like put together 80 to 140 minutes of something that tricks people into believing in the environment of the story. And I think it's more people should make feature films. It's not as hard, especially now. Like every one of my vlogs is an hour and 20 minutes. Um, you could make a goddamn feature film on your iPhone. And so, a lot of the lines of dialogue in Breathless are like aphorisms. He's kind of finding his ideas. Okay, you'll be like Bogart. We'll start on this. Because it's like it's all as a consumer, you feel like these things are like chiseled in granite, or like they always existed. Like Breathless, it's just like who knows how they made that movie? They just made it. It's like, well, it kind of had to happen some way. It wasn't just like foretold. Like things fell into place. There was a reason why it is this like keystone film in tech in like the advancement of filmmaking technique. You could say that Breathless was sort of as significant in the way that it approached production as Citizen Kane was. There are very few films that are that significant in like the method. It's DIY is what you'd call it. It's we're gonna shoot with what did they use? Still camera. He wanted this photographic black and white. Academy ratio. He didn't want CinemaScope. He wanted it to be more like, I don't know, newspaper pictures or something. And so uh, they're shooting on location. They're shooting in the streets of Paris, almost like kids in high school making a movie. Okay, what do we do next? Maybe this. Let's do this next. We'll do a whole scene, and it's amazing how well that movie comes together, considering that. But there's some interesting dialogue he has about they're trying to catch spontaneities or something instantaneous, and I don't know if they put that in the movie to be like uh, relevant to modern whatever circumstances, social media, or uh, just kind of like short form video becoming this kind of like ubiquitous native tongue or something. More so even than like literacy. It's more likely that people are going to like make videos going forward as ways to communicate than like writing things. And Godard just like gives you tons of permission, I think, as a filmmaker. It's like it it allows you to just be like, you know what, it doesn't matter what camera we have, and that we don't even have sound equipment, or what kind of cars do we have? He's got a Cadillac, he's got a Buick. Good enough. Let's go. We'll make it up as we go along. It's exciting. It's exciting to see Godard making up that movie in the streets of Paris by the seat of his pants almost. And it reminded me in a weird way of my time like in the Sluge and like with Kapuka Theater Company and the Fear and Linus thing, because he's almost like an experimental director. He's almost like an experimental theater director. They're like on the streets, and things are just happening, and that's what he wants to catch. He wants to catch these things that are like there's that one scene in Breathless where they're filming like the Champs-Elysees and like the lights come on, like shit like that. He wants to like find these moments of like inspiration, and sort of like there's this thing where he's like, he doesn't write the scenes in advance because he doesn't want the actors coming with their ideas of how it's going to be. He wants that he wants to just give them the ideas so they can't think about it. So they just have to do whatever he says. So it's like, I don't know. I find that stuff enabling and valuable, I guess. To me, I guess that's why I did vlogging, because vlogging feels like the most native extension. I mean, maybe YouTube is just like this arm of Big Brother, and it's not like this DIY space, really. It's sort of like a fake DIY. But all of these things do sort of like fold neatly with work that you already were interested in doing, like filming life, making a film about real life, jump cuts as sort of a method to just get to the best parts. In theory, if your movie is just a bunch of good parts, then it'll be fun to watch. If it's a bunch of if it's just the best parts of your life. Breathless is kind of like that. It's kind of like it just skips ahead to the next part that's like, and it's rough. It's more rough because of that. The lighting is a little more blown out. But, from doing video for the last 10 years for like a job, or over 10 years, like, you realize you can get away with a lot as a filmmaker. A lot of times you think, "Oh my god, like this lighting sucks. My image is underexposed. There's grain, whatever it is." There's a million things where you can be like, none of like I made this movie when I was in college, and we shot the last scene, and it was in winter time, and it was like the sun was going down fast, so it was like the scene went from being like daylight to like blue and then dark, like, but it's like at the time I just thought, oh, this is unacceptable. Like we can't even use this. But it's like, it doesn't matter that much. And major Hollywood movies, there's tons of shit in them that's like really not that I've probably made way more films than most fucking Hollywood directors because I've done tons of like little things. I've done fashion shit, I've done educational shit, I've done fucking, uh toy fucking commercials. Not to mention like writing, all the experience you have with writing and being in front of an audience and like experience and what works in front of an audience and developing your writing, developing your craft. It's like most people that make movies, they never have done that. Maybe this is the first fucking script they ever wrote or something. Like, it's like they've maybe never even been in front of a goddamn audience, to be honest. And so there's actually a lot of stuff in movies that's just like not really cognizant of what it wants to be. It's just ripping off other stuff. Even Uncut Gems, like we watched Uncut Gems yesterday. I just kind of put it on. I watched it probably 5 years ago or something. It's like there's a lot of plot holes, and it rips off a lot of fucking movies. It's a machine of like surprise and like adrenaline and like stakes. They want to draw, they want those characters to make like really counterintuitive, self-destructive decisions because they want to raise the stakes. And the audience likes that shit, but um it's like a good genre heist movie. It tries to be something deep, and in a certain way, I guess it is. It wants to be about luck and like the universe, but then they put the weekend in it, playing himself for some reason, like it's fucking Miami Vice or something. Well, no, on Miami Vice, those guys played parts. They get Leonard Cohen to play like a drug dealer or something. This movie is just like the weekend. Who does he play? Oh, he's himself. He wants to have sex with Adam Sandler's girlfriend because she's so hot. It's a little ridiculous to write that into the script. She's so hot the weekend wants to have sex with her. And that's when the weekend was like a big fucking deal. Like the late 2010s, Weekend was like kind of the number one pop star in a way. So the fact that him and Adam Sandler were like after the same chick is meant to imply something about the status of Adam Sandler, I guess. She's really into him. She gets his name tattooed on her ass. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of shock value, I guess. What the hell was I talking? Oh, the Godard movie. I mean, I guess Cassavetes predates Godard. Had Godard seen Shadows? I wonder. There's like a handheld quality, like Breathless. And this movie made me want to go watch Breathless again. Like I said, it's one of my all-time favorite movies. Uh, I guess for all of those reasons, there's something about Truffaut, even though he's like maybe a more professional director. Uh, his movies are very powerful, and they're like novels. They're romantic. They're like they are like Balzac. But I don't know. Godard's movies are more like Picasso or something. They're more kind of aesthetically boundless. And so I don't know. I got more excited by that stuff as I got older. And in some ways, I do think Godard might be the best. I think, Godard's run from Breathless to like whatever Weekend is like pretty unbeatable. He made a number of masterpieces in a lot of different variations within like 5 or 6 years. It's kind of insane. And I don't know if anybody else really can compete because he's like Brechtian, I guess you might say. He really like uh inserts himself, into the mise en scène where it's like, he'll put words on the screen. He has these weird sound effects. Um, what does he say in the movie to Gene Seberg? You haven't figured it out yet. You're playing me, the Gene Seberg character. I don't know if that's true or maybe he's just fucking with her head, but uh, you got the impression Godard's movies were sort of like his technique. From what I understand, it's almost like Bob Dylan's, where it's just like he's got these sheets of paper that have like a line on it, or he'll have like a few lines. He'll sort of write what an idea, and that's it. That's the whole script. It's not like his screenplay is like the fucking screenplay for Terminator 2 or something, where it's like this McKee approved 90-page formatted interior hotel day. Michel Picard. It's like he just finds this stuff. It said the hotel that they filmed, there's that famous scene. It's a famous fucking scene in Breathless. It's one of the things that makes it this kind of romantic, beautiful film is there's like this 20-minute long scene in the middle of the movie where they're just in bed in this hotel. And Jean-Paul Belmondo is super tan and kind of slim. And Gene Seberg looks like, Passion of Joan of Arc meets, Marilyn Monroe or whatever. And between grief and nothing, I'll take grief. William Faulkner. Supposedly this hotel was like the first hotel Godard stayed in when he lived in Paris. So it has sentimental personal value. That's why he chose it. They said the rooms are too small and this and that. The movie business has a certain idea about how their productions need to roll in and the catering and the crew and there is something to be argued that like there is a lot of just like unnecessary protocol and waste. That was the thing that frustrated me about working on big movies that were trying to be like legitimate, was just like the crew is massive and it's way more about the equipment and setting up all the fucking lights and You got to tear, it's just like it takes fucking hours to set every goddamn thing up. The actual scene is like way, way, way of an afterthought. It's like a footnote to the industry of the production, which I hated. And so the Godard thing, it's like his crew is just like, nobody even knows they're shooting a movie. It's like how people make movies now, basically. It's like you could just run around New York with a DSLR and like a gimbal. It's like you could make fucking uncut gems probably with no fucking permits or anything. And so Godard was sort of a pioneer of that, I guess. It's just a really interesting stunt that they pull off. The idea that they're going to make a movie about this, shoot it like Breathless. And the actors are incredible. The guy really looks like Godard. He nails it. His voice sounds like Godard. He's even taller than Godard. So he's like the 21st century version of that. He's height maxing Godard. And it's interesting because it's like you're watching them, you're watching the director direct. So it's almost like that fucking who's the guy, Kiarostami movie? That movie about the people who are like, it's the whole movie is like watching the people in the audience. It's like a 2-hour long movie, but the whole movie is it's filming the people in the audience, their faces as they watch a play or something. Or there's another Kiarostami movie where it's like the whole fucking movie is like the camera's on like this cab driver or something. Like literally the whole goddamn movie is just like this, take something that seems like really unaesthetic and visually would be tiring, and somehow it works. Like this, it's like the movie is really about the director and they're filming fucking Breathless like it really I don't know, it really felt realistic because it's like they're just picking up shots like like you would with your friends or something. Like, okay, now we need a shot of you running down the street. Okay, let's just do it. And they just do it. And I don't know. That movie is just like I think he wanted to capture something about like human experience, how we experience life. And this was something this guy Bellatar died. I've never seen a Bellatar movie, but now I'm curious because there was some quote that he popped up from him where he's talking about how like he doesn't do plot, he doesn't do story. It's like he doesn't even try. His movies are not about that. The audience doesn't even care about that. They don't really care about that. Like everything in Hollywood sort of filmmaking dogma is like story, 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 plot, plot, plot. We're storytellers. And Bellatar is saying like that doesn't matter at all. And I think there's something about human experience. Like there's stories happening all the time. They're not even necessarily true though. It's like they're happening in our own head. They're happening simultaneously. And there's a weird quality to memory where like you remember things wrong. So like you turn it into a story that's not true, or like you get the story wrong. And movies like don't really reflect that. Movies are so precise in everything that happens. Like the characters realize everything that happens and they're present to it and they react to it immediately, and it triggers this, and it's like this is one of the things that some of these TV shows get so well, like Sopranos or Mad Men, is like the characters misunderstand each other. Like they don't always know what to do. Like uh that life is kind of more like that. I think with Breathless, and this movie kind of implies that Godard was like trying to capture um I think there was some sense that he thought the story didn't matter. Like the exact plot of the story was not really what was important about the movie. What was important about the movie, I don't know, was capturing more like these moments. Like there will be a story there. Like a story will be there. Like these characters just sort of go through their relationship and their interaction. And to me, it's like that's kind of more how life is. It's like you don't necessarily know when a beginning or an ending has happened. Like you don't know if it's the last time you're going to see somebody, or uh if that's the end of that story. Things come back. Things kind of arise and fall away. Things kind of pop up and burst. Um and so I think by sort of collecting his script, collecting his scenes piecemeal, as they came to him, um a form kind of happened organically that reflected that, kind of aleatory happenstance nature of just our day to day and our lives and blah blah blah. So in any case, it was really a remarkable film. It's kind of like the that and the Ethan Hawke Blue Moon movie and the Orson Welles movie. They feel like they kind of make a trilogy to me within Linklater, where there's sort of like these nonfiction tales of artistic heroes or lives of the poets type biography. Me and Orson Welles is about the Mercury Theater and that Julius Caesar production. Then Blue Moon is about Lorenz Hart or whatever. This is about Godard and Breathless. And I mean, it's an amazing. If you're a fan of that movie, if you're not a fan of Breathless, it's sort of like a meta intertextual film. So it's like if you're not a fan of Breathless, it's like it might just be really fucking boring and make no sense and have no. I mean, the reviews on Letterboxd were not that great. Way more people liked Uncut Gems, but I'm a mark for Breathless. And I tried to watch. There's this Godard movie on YouTube. It's like some interview he filmed in 2017, but there's no English subtitles, so it's on YouTube, but I have no idea what they're saying. It looks nice. I mean, Godard's movies are all pretty good, even the later ones. I liked the fucking last few movies he made. I thought they were phenomenal. I also wanted to talk about the Chevy Chase show to pivot hard real quick. Because it's sort of like a TikTok subject du jour. Is their just documentary came out recently, which I have not seen. People who watch my live stream know that I rarely view any of the things I criticize and I talk at length about, including this Chevy Chase documentary. I think it's called "I'm Chevy Chase and You're Not." Very original. I think. I'm not positive. But in any case, there's this clip that has kind of gone viral of Chevy Chase like being mean to the interviewer lady because a woman made the documentary, I think, and he's kind of senile, and he's on TikTok. Like people who are on TikTok, like I follow Chevy Chase. He actually makes videos pretty regularly. He posts. And it seems like he's pretty active. He goes to a lot of these fucking, fan conventions. There's all these videos of Chevy Chase, like, in fucking Pittsburgh or someplace at some convention center, like, with Beverly D'Angelo and Randy Quaid, like, doing meet and greets. It's like, Jesus Christ. He doesn't have better shit to do? I thought he was dying. He's old. He's able to get around to these goddamn conventions. How much are they paying him? He's there with Randy Quaid, for Christ's sake. They should make another movie if they're going to be doing these stupid ass conventions. But in any case, he makes all these TikTok videos wherever he goes. And, they're pretty good, I got to say, for a fucking 78-year-old or whatever. He's got a pretty funny, I think Chevy Chase is still funny. And in fact, he's funnier than ever in a way because he's kind of lost his mind. And so it only kind of enhances uh, kind of clumsy, goofy. You can tell Jerry Lewis is a big influence on Chevy Chase in a way that maybe is lost on people now. But there's this idea that he's an asshole. He was never funny. I mean, when I was a kid, the consensus was Chevy Chase makes horrible movies. He was somebody that could have been a big star because of Saturday Night Live, and he left too early, and then he made a lot of bad movies. And he was a terrible actor, basically, was what people thought in the 90s. And then he had this talk show that everybody thought was like the worst show that had ever been on. I mean, the Chevy Chase show, I remember when I was a kid, it was like Waterworld or Ishtar. It was like legendarily bad. It was like something they would use as an example in like Entertainment Weekly or whatever about Jesus Christ. Remember the worst shows ever made, the Chevy Chase talk show. And, so he's always had sort of like maybe not a great reputation. And now it's sort of common knowledge in the purity test culture that we live in that like he's really like yeah, he's a piece of shit, I guess. People generally kind of agree that he's like a prick or he's like hard to work with. um the stories about him on Community, or apparently Chris Columbus didn't want to direct Christmas Vacation, because Chevy Chase was like such an asshole. And so, or stories about him and Bill Murray getting into fights and shit. Like, I think you kind of just have to understand that like that's like Chevy Chase's brand of humor. And for whatever reason in our culture, that is like a significant cornerstone of our comedy, is like tall. He's like a Manhattanite of 16 generation. He's like this blue blood kind of private school educated, like American aristocrat or something. He's really to the manor born, and he went to the Dalton school, and they said something about he's always been the tallest person in any room he's been in, right? And he's good looking, and he's so he his sense of humor is like, first of all, I don't actually think a lot of his humor is like mean spirited. I mean, the thing about him, there should be like a game show about the guy having AIDS or whatever. That's dark. I would say Chevy Chase's humor is like dark. Like he was into the Michael O'Donoghue side of things, into the Doug Kenny, we're going to shoot this dog, National Lampoon, kind of dark, entitled boomer humor. But first of all, I think he's a lot more talented. I hate to say this, and maybe this is just some kind of like endearment that I have to the Saturday Night Live people from like growing up. Like those movies are such a huge part of just like middle class or suburban, or I don't even know, lower middle class American life of that era, like fucking Caddyshack, Three Amigos. Uh, Chevy Chase is in a lot of fucking movies that are like what the hell else? He's in tons of shit. Why can't I think? Vacation, right? Christmas Vacation. Like Christmas Vacation is kind of the biggest Christmas movie even still. And he, even if the critics hated a lot of his movies, and they did, it's like he still made a lot of them. And like, to be honest, like, they're not that bad. These critics don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And a lot of times they just give comedy bad reviews because it's like it's not meant to be fucking Shakespeare or like The Verdict or something. It's like Funny Farm. Funny Farm is a pretty good movie. It's George Roy Hill. Chevy Chase like plays a writer. I think Chevy Chase's physical humor, I don't think there's anybody that does clumsy and like pratfalls like him. Like nobody does that sort of like bumbling. I mean, maybe that's like I don't know, is that a Peter Sellers thing, or I don't know what he's ripping that on. Like I said, Jerry Lewis, I think a lot of his shit is Jerry Lewis. I like when he like bugs his eyes out. I think Chevy Chase has like incredible timing, or whatever you want to call it, and like his like facial expressions. I know that's like an underrated or undervalued, you know, form of humor, but like that's kind of humor at its most elemental to me. And to me, Chevy Chase, like he went to fucking Bard. Like he's an experimental comedian from the 60s, basically. He's like a hippie. He's like a country club hippie. Or at least, he partied with them. And, his politics, I think he is pretty liberal. He made some jokes about Bush and Reagan that were pretty one-sided, which I liked. And that kind of priggish, it's not necessarily, like if I knew Chevy Chase in real life, I probably would hate him. He probably would be a dickhead. I probably couldn't stand him. But like, I've been around that type of guy enough. These guys that like, they insult you, or they rib you, they roast you. Like tall guy humor is kind of entitled and like arrogant and like screw off. Chevy Chase really is a master of that. He's a master of like misinterpretation or like double speak, far as you know. Thank you very little. All that kind of stuff. Like, I think it's easy to like shit on Chevy Chase and be like, this guy sucks, but like, I hate to say it, he's like a giant. He really is. I mean, if you want to, if you look at the people that are like all over the screen in like the late 20th century comedy, like Chevy Chase is as big as anybody. He's like the fucking Bob Hope of, and I think he was influenced by that stuff too. Kind of smart ass asides, commenting on the situation under his breath or whatever. Misdirection, verbal misdirection. Chevy Chase is like a master of all of that stuff. And his attitude is sort of like a spoiled kid in private school being a little piece of shit. So I've been watching on YouTube, they have all these episodes of the Chevy Chase talk show, which, as I said before, is like legendary for how bad it is. Like, people to this day, they talk about like how embarrassing it is to watch. And I remember when it was on when I was a little kid, like reading, the checkout at the supermarket, the fucking National Enquirer or whatever would have some story about the Chevy Chase talk show so bad. It got canceled after 6 weeks. Back in the days of like the legacy media, that shit felt, I don't know, it felt like if you got, you know, publicly defeated on that scale back then, it was like that would tarnish your career for like a couple years. You're going to be making Cops and Robertsons and Man of the House and shit like that. No more Three Amigos for you. Apparently, this documentary is just all about how he's a piece of shit. Now nobody likes him. Which I don't know. I don't really think that that's true. So I've been watching this fucking Chevy Chase talk show. And to be honest, it's not that bad. I kind of like it, actually. I think it's kind of good. It's kind of incredible because, like, he's a fucking movie star, right? It's 1994. He's kind of old to start doing that. I don't know. What did they think was going to happen? Did they think Chevy Chase was going to, like, be on a fucking talk show for, like, 20 years? Like, he's famously an asshole. But, like, supposedly him and Carson and Steve Martin and some other people were, like, a part of, like, a poker group. Neil Simon, the Gourmet Poker Club. So Carson liked him. And they hung out and, like, Chevy Chase had an aura and, like, a sort of a glamour in the late 70s. People thought he was going to be like the next Cary Grant or something. Like, they thought he was going to be this, like, leading man in all these, like, romantic comedies with Goldie Hawn and shit. Foul Play, I thought, was a pretty good movie. I mean, was it fucking one battle after another? Like, there were similarities. I think I liked it better, maybe. Charles Grodin's in it. I mean, one battle after another, say what you will about it, doesn't have Charles Grodin. Oh, man, I can't believe I'm doing this on Saturday night and nobody's watching. This is so sad. There's no way you people are out doing shit. There's a wintry mix. I'll bet people will start watching at midnight. I'm going to call it. At midnight, that's when people will start to tune into this. But I'm just going to keep yapping about the Chevy Chase show for posterity. And we'll get to Bob Weir. We'll talk about Bob Weir, too. Of course. R.I.P. I can't believe Bob Weir died. Jesus Christ. I found out on Twitter a few hours ago. I mean, in a way, I'm not surprised, but he was just playing like a lot of gigs, not that long ago. Within the last year, he was playing like pretty much a full slate. Like he was playing at the Sphere. Now he's dead. Jesus Christ. 2026 already fucking sucks dick. Well, I don't know. There's pros and cons. In any case, does all of this kill my viewership here? What the hell was I saying about Nouvelle Vogue, Bob Weir, Richard Avedon? No, we were moving into a new subject. What was it? Oh, Chevy Chase show, of course. This is so important. But no, okay, so usually the opening sequence is pretty cool. His band is really good. Tom Scott and the whatever, LA Express. One thing, he comes out, he usually tells one joke, and then one thing that's cool is his band plays and he sits down and jams with them. And something, he's pretty good. Chevy Chase is like actually a pretty good. I mean, he was in Steely Dan. He's actually a pretty good keyboard player. He's way better than Sam Kinison at guitar. Sam Kinison is on guitar just doing a bunch of pentatonic shit. Like Chevy Chase, like kind of knows what he's doing on a keyboard. And I like that. I mean, I know that's some kind of hacky like 90s, like trying to appeal to Doritos mass audience or something. Doritos Pepsi people. Like, oh, Chevy's gonna jam with the band. Check it out. But now he's gonna play some funky electric keyboard. It's like he's pretty good, I gotta say. It seemed like they were putting a lot of money, and the writing's not bad. His interviews, to be, having heard as much as we've heard about what a prick Chevy Chase is, his interviews are surprisingly, hospitable. Surprisingly, like, like he doesn't like get into fights with people. He doesn't insult people. There's this interview with George Wallace, George Wallace is talking all this shit, and Chevy Chase is, he's not like throwing it back at the guy. He's being kind of a good host. And then about halfway through the show, they have him come out and do like a weekend update thing. It's called News Update, where he tells a bunch of jokes about the news, just like on Saturday Night Live. So it's like you're getting a new Chevy Chase weekend update every fucking night. You could tell they were just pulling out all the stops to try to get the dumpster fire to go out. I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest. There was an episode with Dan Aykroyd, but they were acting like embarrassed. Like you could tell, you could see the flop sweat. You could tell Chevy Chase was like all the headlines and the barrage of like negative criticism about how his talk show was the worst show ever made was sort of getting to him. So he's like sort of self-deprecating and sort of like, you can tell he's a little bit shell-shocked and nervous. It was on Fox. I think it's held up pretty well. The writing's pretty good. The sketches are weird. Like his sense of humor is fucked up. Like the one episode starts off with a sketch about Dr. Kevorkian. So there's like some dark humor, but Fox was kind of into that. At that time, like things like In Living Color there was a show called There was some sketch show on Fox, not The State. I forget what it was called, but it was kinda dark and, Fox had some things that were kinda like, uh, provocative in that way. And so, I don't know, I encourage people to go on YouTube. This is another one of my YouTube picks. Go watch the Chevy Chase show. It's not that bad. Especially if you're a fan, which it's like crazy. You're watching Chevy Chase on TV every night. His humor is pretty interesting, actually. Like, he's a good physical comedian. He has a natural kind of like, flirtatious, playful kind of banter. His questions were pretty good, I thought, whoever was writing the questions for him. He interviews Pamela Anderson, and he's not a total perv about it. He's pretty normal about it, considering it's Pamela Anderson in like 1994 or whatever. She's completely smoking. It's like he's kind of a gentleman about it. It's like if Chevy Chase is such a fucking scumbag, and like I'm sure he is in some ways, but like he also just seems like, I don't know, his family's still together. He's been married to the same woman since like the fucking 70s. Like he's got daughters. His daughters are like in his TikTok videos and shit. Like I don't know. This clip of him on TikTok where he's like, "You're not that bright." He tells this lady she's trying to figure me out. He's like, "You can't do it. You're not that bright." It's like he's not being that mean. What he said was not that fucking mean. That's his sense of humor. These old white guys, their sense of humor is extremely dry, and they'll say that's part of it. Is like they say shit that's just like really insulting to your face. Schmidt lap. My grandpa used to always call everybody Schmidt lap. And that's just their humor. I don't know. You're not that bright. It's like, wow, Chevy Chase is a monster. That's comedy is going to the forbidden places. And so that's his job. That's why he's Chevy Chase. He's like the chief prick. He's the arch prick of our society. Like Chevy Chase is like that's why he got that job on the East Coast in New York. Like he beat all of the other tall fucking smarmy fucking entitled cocksuckers. Him, he's more of like a prick, but like, Dan Aykroyd, I think is 6'2" or 6'3". Conan is 6'4". Steve Martin's like 6'2". A character that got out of hand. Yeah. I agree. Like, that's his fucking trademark, humor. He's probably always been that way. Like you meet people like that in school that just like it's like they have some kind of verbal tick or something where they just have to turn everything into some fucking pun or like what's up, Adam S. Or they just have to smart off. He doesn't like. Yeah, I mean, dude, he's Chevy Chase. He's probably got fucking obnoxious people coming up. Oh, Carrot Top. There was these great videos that Carrot Top posted on TikTok where he wanted to offer rebuttal because he actually had a good experience with Chevy Chase. He said he saw Chevy Chase in a restaurant and he wanted to send over dessert, but he told the waiter not to tell him that it was him. The waiter told him anyway. He said Chevy Chase came over and was really nice to him and was like wanted to get him to get a picture with his daughters. And it's like, and then he told this other story about Chevy Chase. There was this lady that approached him like at the ski resort while he was smoking. And she was a total bitch to him. And he was actually pretty nice to her. It's like, I don't, like, yeah, he probably is like a fucking douchebag, but a lot of these comedians are douchebags. Like, I don't know. To be a celebrity, it's like the dude has been dealing with fucking every single kind of fucking trashy person publicly accosting him for like 50 years. Like, he probably wants to be left alone. He seems to be handling it pretty well, considering he's like, almost fucking 80 years old and probably has dementia or something. He's like Trump, sort of. He's sort of coming unglued, and he's losing his filter. He was always a prick with no filter. Now he's old. My grandparents are kind of like that. It's just like they were mean before. Now that they're old, it's like they just don't even give a fuck at all. They'll be really mean. They got nothing to lose. So it's like, I don't know. Chevy Chase has white people fucking asshole humor. Damn, sorry about your mom. I heard Chevy Chase has had some kind of fucking problem, but he seems to be doing pretty well, honestly. He's on all these fucking podcasts. I mean, he's not necessarily the most present guy, but like he's pretty sharp even still for like, a guy who's whatever, 70 fucking 8 years old. Like, I thought he was pissed that they didn't have him on the SNL 50, which I kind of agree. Like, they have fucking Sabrina Carpenter singing with Paul Simon, and you can't even have Chevy Chase like in the goddamn audience. Like, dude, he's fucking Chevy Chase. Like, there'd be no Saturday Night Live. I'm sorry, but like, he was a huge catalyst for the cultural sensation that show was. And a part of it was because he's a tall, good-looking, arrogant prick. That's very sexy to women. They like that. They like dickheads. And he's 6'4". And he's got a double chin. So it's like, he seems pretty good-natured, honestly, considering he's like this blue blood American aristocrat that like came over on the fucking Mayflower and shit. Like, he could be more of a prick. I don't know. I think it's sort of like woke-ish. Like supposedly he said the N-word on the set of Community. And a lot of the people on Community like hate him, like Dan Harmon, I guess. I don't know anything about Dan Harmon, but like if I had to choose to be on Team Chevy or Team like Dan Harmon, it's like I'll pick Chevy Chase. I'm sorry, but the dude is a comedy fucking legend. Like, Dan Harmon is just like an internet nerd. Like, who gives a fuck about Dan Harmon? And like, I'm sorry, but Chevy Chase is from like the fucking 60s or whatever. Like, old people throw the N-word around like they're allowed to. White people don't necessarily have the same. In fact, for like, antagonistic comedy people, like look at that skit with Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor, where it's like the racial word association. The climax of the skit is Chevy Chase says the N-word. It's like that got a lot of applause. That skit was on fucking like best of SNL fucking tapes and shit. And it's like it's a white guy saying the N-word to Richard Pryor's face. That's the punchline. It's Chevy Chase, the ultimate wasp dickhead, using a racial slur. It's like he's not a millennial. He's not Gen Z. He's not a fucking snowflake. Like their generation thought it was like hip to like push those boundaries and shit. I'm not using that as an excuse, but it's like he might, he's throwing it around. in a way that he shouldn't be. But, like, I don't think he meant it in, like, a hateful way. I don't think he meant it like, he's fucking in the KKK or something. Like, I think he was just trying to press people's buttons. He's just trying to get a fucking rise out of people, and he does. Like, that's his fucking job. That's what comedians do. That's why it's, like, maybe not such a great thing that our society is, like, so obsessed with fucking comedy and, like, looks to these stand-up comedians like they're some kind of, like, sages or something, because it's, like, a lot of the impulse of what comedy is, like, it's kinda dark. It's Joker mode, it's sadistic. It's not, like, the better part of human nature. Like, Chevy Chase is funny. Trump is funny, right? Like, Trump is fucking hilarious. We're all laughing now, aren't we? Like, it's not necessarily always a great thing to be funny. But for whatever reason, our culture is, like, fucking obsessed with it. And I don't know, maybe some people don't think so, but I think Chevy Chase is, like, a very advanced comedian. What he does, it's a miracle that somebody who is, like, as interesting of a performer as him is, like, that popular. Like, to me, I don't know, some of Chevy Chase's shit has held up better than Steve Martin. When I watch a lot of Steve Martin shit, I'm like, he's kind of phoning it in, or, like, he's trying to make it funny, but it's, like, not really, not everything. Like, a lot of Steve Martin shit kills, obviously. But, like, Chevy Chase, his brand of, like, making weird faces and, like all the shit I've been talking about, it's actually pretty fucking advanced, and it's pretty fucking funny. I do think it's a shame that Chevy Chase, like, never really got, like, a serious Oscar. He never got his Bill Murray era. Even Dan Aykroyd got a fucking Oscar nomination. Like, Chevy Chase, there was this video I saw of John Carpenter. Now I really want to see Memoirs of an Invisible Man. The John Carpenter Chevy Chase movie. It used to be on cable all the time. It used to be on, like, the pay channels. Memoirs of an Invisible Man. It's like, what the fuck is this? Chevy Chase is, like, in a serious movie, and John Carpenter's directing, like, something that's not, like, an action horror Kurt Russell, like, genre comic book thing. It's like, no, it's like this weird, like, fucking melodrama or something. It's like Beaches, but with Chevy Chase for some reason. I'm curious. I think Chevy Chase gets a bad rap. Honestly, he's a jazz musician. He played with Steely Dan, okay? He is like an avant-garde comedian, I think, in a way. And I cherish these episodes of the Chevy Chase show from 1994 on Fox. It's crazy. They're like, coming up this Sunday, new episode of The Simpsons. Yeah, the Call Me Al music video. I loved that when I was a kid. Chevy Chase just pantomiming. That's all he's doing in that fucking video. He's just pantomiming. And somehow, even as a fucking 3-year-old or whatever, a 4-year-old, that was, like, super compelling to me and, like, grabbed me. It's just like what Jerry Lewis does. When Jerry Lewis, like, pantomimes to those records and shit, Chevy Chase is, like, a master of that. I know that sounds like is like a dumb thing to be good at, but, like, to me, one of the funniest bits is when, like, somebody is talking and Chevy Chase is just like making those dumb faces behind them. Like, he probably is a fucking asshole in real life. Apparently, John Carpenter hates him. John Carpenter said it was like a nightmare to work with him. So you don't want to get on Chevy Chase's bad side, I guess. But if you're Paul Simon, I don't know. He's in fucking Three Amigos. He's hilarious. He co-wrote this song with Randy Newman. If you know the song Happy, one of the funniest things I know is that Chevy Chase co-wrote this song because you can totally feel Chevy Chase's sense of humor in this song. I urge people to look it up. Happy by Randy Newman. It was supposed to be in Three Amigos, but they cut it. And I found it in college on a Randy Newman box set. And the writing credit is like Randy Newman, Chevy Chase. And you're like, what the fuck is this? And it is hilarious. It's literally like 30 seconds long. And it's one of the funniest fucking. Let me see if I can find it on. I'm so fucking happy. I love everybody. I want you to know. Got the world by the balls and I won't let them go. I mean, Chevy Chase's sense of humor really comes across on this talk show. The fact that that was on TV every night. I mean, I'd rather watch that than fucking Jay Leno. But the American people made their choice. They canceled him after 6 weeks, the dumbasses. He was jamming. I did want to talk about, because this is another thing that's been popping up in my TikTok. Have you ever seen Jay Leno's garage? I am fucking shocked at how much Jay Leno knows about goddamn cars. I mean, I knew Jay Leno had this big car collection and blah, 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 but it's like, and maybe it's just because I don't know anything about cars or I'm just like a sucker, but like, I'm kind of addicted to these Jay Leno garage clips because he really knows what the fuck he's talking about. When he talks about these cars, it's like he knows the terminology, he knows the verbiage, he's good at explaining it. It's the first time I've ever understood like fully why Jay Leno is as successful as he is, because you can see the way his mind works. And you can see that he actually does have this like comprehensive understanding. He's a super sharp guy. And he has some kind of like otherly kind of like street smart or something. Like Jay Leno knew how to play the game. And he made the moves he needed to make to fuck Letterman and Conan. But to hear him talk about these cars, I mean, he's got all these fucking like steam powered cars and coal fucking cars. He's got a VW Bug. He's got a fucking, he's got Ferraris, he's got Lamborghinis. He's got a Studebaker. He's got a Duesenberg. And he really knows his shit. I mean, he can just sort of espouse at length technical and sort of functional descriptions of these cars. And it's like he really knows what the hell he's talking about. I'd buy a car from Jay Leno. So I was really surprised because I'm a classic Jay Leno hater. But these Jay Leno garage clips, my God, I've learned a lot about cars in the last, whatever. Leno is autistic as fuck. There you go. Yeah, he's got autism for cars. I guess you're right, because it's like he has, it's like sort of like Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd can do this sort of like motor mouth technical jargon where he can just sort of improv all these terminology and rattle off. But it's like, just from watching Leno's stand-up comedy or even like interviews and shit, you never see that. I've never seen that side of him where like literally this guy just like, I don't want to say babble, but it's like he's just like spooling this shit and it's even. It's his rhythm is even. He's not saying he's not thinking. He knows all of these like hip garage slang for every fucking, every car thing's got some kind of like, oh, it's a wheel and deal, it's a back dumper. Oh, it's got the classic four on the rack pinion, you know, there's no power steering, no power brakes. There's this one where he's got a Jeep, these army surplus Jeeps from World War II. And he's like, it's maybe one of the best vehicles ever made because it's just like you could buy it for literally like $200. They just stamped out all the parts. So you get it in a box and you assemble it. And it's meant to be just like you can run it anywhere because it's a Jeep for the army. So it's like it doesn't need that much gas. It doesn't need that much oil or anything. There's no power steering, no power brakes. And it's like it's actually pretty, you can drive it over any kind of fucking terrain. The tires are in it. It's all, in the toolkit. And so he's just like rattling off at length about the history of this fucking Jeep and who made it and blah, blah, blah. And he knows every goddamn thing about the headlights and it's like, Jesus Christ, this is a good idea. It's way better than Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. I thought it was just a ripoff of Comedians in Cars where Jay kind of fucking tells a bunch of gay ass jokes about cars or something. It's like, Jesus Christ, Jay Leno could be a fucking, I don't even know. He could work for Tesla or something. Get Jay Leno on the fucking assembly line. Does Elon Musk know Jay Leno? Because it's like the shit that he knows about is more like back when cars were actually like practical, before everything became a fucking computer. It used to be they were just kind of like simple machines. Now it's all you just plug it in or something. Who knows? It's just an iPhone with fucking. So yeah, Jay Leno's garage. I was shocked when I was sucked in by these clips. He had this car, the Citroën, 1971. It's French. He says it's the best car ever made. Some interest. He had this Mercedes that was entirely steam powered or something, or like it had no electric. All of the windows and doors and locks and shit were like steam driven. So it's like incredibly hard to like fix. There's like only a couple people in the world that like even know how to work on it. I don't know, man. Cars are imagine these comedians are so successful. Fucking Jerry Seinfeld is so successful. He has like 200 Porsches. Like, what the fuck? He's a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian, And supposedly Jerry Seinfeld has some kind of garage that he built underground on the Upper West Side somewhere for his Porsches. He's so rich. He was able to construct his own underground Porsche garage on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Oh, I don't know if any of my LA friends are watching this, but there is going to be a screening of that movie that I'm in LA. Free. They want audience there. So if anybody wants to go, let me know and I will get you the details. LA friends are going to be showing this movie in LA. It's a good movie. It actually was worth your time. It's a true indie film. Not a bunch of Hallmark crap either. It's like a new American film from the 70s. So if you're in LA and you want to see a free movie, let me know. What the hell else was I going to talk about? I talked about Chevy Chase. Adam S. Uh, I'm. I ordered. Well, now I got 5 people watching. Fuck. Better come up with my Saturday night at work. And you're in a warehouse, or you're, or you're at a hotel? I thought you were working in a warehouse. I think. Do you watch Jay Leno's Garage? At a hotel. All right, that's got to be pretty cool on a Saturday night. There's got to be some action there. There's got to be some rendezvous going down, and hotels Friday through Sunday. All right, that's pretty cool. That night shift life for the hotels. That's a good, honorable people working the night shift at the hotel. I need to work 7 days a week. That is fucking insanity. They're gonna work us all to death. I work to 11 Pacific Standard. Okay, so that's 3 hours from now. 2 hours from now. 3 to 11. 3:11. Shit. At the hotel. Okay, so that's not a night shift. That's a day shift. That's like sort of the turnover, I guess. Is there what kind of hotel is it? Is there like a bar? Is there extra dollar an hour? Oh, I see. Is there like hot chicks? Is there dancing? Is there See what I tell you? I told you at midnight more people would be watching. I told you around midnight. Now there's 8 people watching. Marriott, but a little less fancy. Wow. Okay. So there's probably no hot chicks or bar. Damn. Okay. I just jumped in. What is this stream about? I see one viewer. I don't know. We're talking about Adam S. works at a hotel. We're talking about Chevy Chase. Highly unprofessional. Yeah. Sorry. Um, what are we talking about? Oh, I see. Okay. That's good. Smart man. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's got to be some kind of fun part, I guess, to working at the hotel maybe on a Saturday night. It's a Marriott, though. I don't know. Well, you're making money 7 days a week. That's fucking insane. I mean, Jesus Christ. Literally, what are we talking about? I gotta have a reason not to scroll away. We're talking about what was on my fucking list? Did I have anything else? Well, we were talking about Chevy Chase. How Chevy Chase gets a bad rap. We're defending Chevy Chase. We're Chevy Chase apologists. Um, what else do we need to talk about tonight? People make reservations. I confirm. Would you like 2 keys, sir? There you go. Well, we're talking to people in the comments, really. Anybody in the comments that wants to chat, let us know. We're talking to Adam S. He's at work in a hotel on the West Coast right now, listening to this. My man Adam S. He's the number one king of the chat. He's wearing the crown in the chat. And so basically, I am trying to provide my man a public service by assisting him by being personal radio entertainment so he doesn't get bored while he has to fucking you know be at shitty work. So, we talk about poetry, we talk about movies, we talk about the entertainment industry. I lost all my viewers. See, I had 8 people. I don't know. I guess Steamboat left. We talk about wrestling. We talk about YouTube. What's on YouTube tonight? Are you guys getting into any good shit? 2185 pre-tax. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. And it's probably pretty chill, right? I mean, I'm still struggling to pay rent. Do you live alone or do you have roommates or I mean, you really are on your own, right? I mean, you can't just like slide by. You have to kind of make ends meet or else uh so let me ask you for some advice. So I ordered this iPhone because it was on a deal. This guy on Reddit, okay? I wanted to order this iPhone from Cricket because I got to change my service, and they had a deal, but it disappeared. I went on Thursday, and the deal was gone. So I went on Reddit and was like, "Hey, blah blah blah." There was a thread about it. Hey, what happened to this iPhone deal? And somebody in the thread was like, "Don't worry, January 9th, there'll be a better deal." Blah blah blah. So I responded like, "How do you know this? Are you just some dickhead on the internet like lying?" Jerk, because like what these deals go away. You think, all right, Adam S got a studio apartment. So anyway, the guy he's like, I'm a Cricket representative. I work at the store, and sure enough, he was right. He was not lying. This guy on Reddit was actually telling the truth. And they did have they have this deal. These iPhone 16s are $50 if you pay for 2 months of service, which is a great deal. So it's like $170. I got this fucking, a phone and 2 months service. Like that's a pretty fucking good deal. So it's like I need another. I have a new iPhone, but I need another new iPhone because I need a live streaming phone. I need a phone that's dedicated to live streaming. I'm gonna up my commitment. And for the open mic, I need another phone so I can do like sound shit while I'm live streaming. Like I wasn't able to film the open mic a couple weeks ago. It was the first one we ever didn't film because I just didn't have a camera that I could think of. So I got to my fucking phone bill was up yesterday, the 10th, and I so it's like I needed to get the phone ideally as soon as possible because I don't want to pay for another month on the plan that I'm already on. I just want to switch over to my new service, you know, without having to pay 2 months for 2 days of my fucking whatever plan. And so my fucking bank, for whatever reason, my bank account, my address is like this place I used to live. I haven't updated the address for whatever reason. And for some reason on Cricket, you cannot, and I've never seen this on anything, but you can't have a different shipping address from your billing address. Your billing address has to be your shipping address. But it said on their website when you order it, you can choose to pick it up at one of their UPS stores if you sign up for this fucking free service. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this, but like my bank account won't update my address in time to order the phone to get it before my fucking month is up and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I want to order this thing. I want to get the deal before it expires. I'm sort of impatient to just get it done. And so, plus, I'm doing this under the impression that I'm going to have the option maybe to change it because it says you can order it. First, it's ridiculous that you can't have a different shipping address than billing address. Like, who's ever heard of such a thing? It's insane. And but you can go pick it up in their fucking store if you sign up for their dumbass like online whatever the hell it is service. So it's like I didn't want to do this. I knew it was probably not a great idea, but so anyway, I'm going on their website now and it says that I can't do it because there's some kind of block. So it's going to this place I used to live. So I've got to figure out some way to intercept the phone like uh you know like before they deliver it or as they deliver it or while they're delivering it. I mean, like, I guess worst case scenario, they deliver it to the place I used to live and I have to contact those people. I mean, it does have my name on it and all that shit. So it's like, I'm sure this kind of thing happens all the time. They deliver stuff to the wrong address. There's mix ups, this and that. But I'm a little anxious because it's like the thing is in the mail. I'm going on the fucking website every so often to try to like fix it, or it lied to me about, I would be able to change it or I'd be able to pick it up at the fucking store or whatever. And so it's just a little frustrating thinking this thing might just be out there and I don't know. I don't even know how I'm going to get it. How am I going to live stream? You know, from how am I gonna live stream and play TikTok sound bites? So I'm hoping that I can just pick it up. It's supposed to be delivered Monday. It's 2-day free delivery. You don't get to choose where it goes, but they'll deliver it fast. You have no fucking control over that whatsoever. And then I think I just lost $5 on the street. I think I had $5 in my pocket, and I think I pulled my wallet out, and there's $5 missing. So I don't know. You win some, you lose some. I guess it all evens out in the end. But if anybody has the thing that's frustrating is these companies are like not that easy to communicate with. It's like you're dealing with some kind of AI fucking chat bot or something. And they have these like pre-governed kind of like gateways, or like, oh, you're actually locked out from you can't adjust the delivery location. Your access is denied for that because of X, Y, or Z. Something in our system that's like automated that nobody really understands why. Just give me a fucking representative that can like override all of that shit. So now I'm like locked out of all of it. I got locked out of like the temporary guest thing. I got locked out of like the free sign up. Too many login attempts. I am so sick of fucking having to remember passwords, fucking, key number fucking codes. Like, I just cannot sign into any more goddamn apps. I can't remember what I capitalized and what punctuation I used, and I can't remember what username I used for what. I'm so sick. What did we do before phones? Was there a goddamn password for everything? Like, before computers? Did you have to remember like a bunch of goddamn passwords for everything? Like, I don't think so. Yeah. Fill in the squares that are bicycles or motorcycles. It's like, well, it's kind of debatable. Highlight all of the squares that are in the crosswalk. It's like, well, it's kind of in the corner of that one. God damn it. No more goddamn passwords. There's got to be a better way. Like, I don't know what it is, but they're the geniuses, these programmers. They should be able to come up with something, god damn it. I mean, that's why I couldn't do my job. It was just like everything they wanted everything to be an app. It's like, "Oh, you gotta clock in on an app. You gotta check your email. We're gonna assign you tasks on an app. We're on a Slack chat. Like, here's your scheduling app." Like, fuck off. I cannot keep because some of them are like, well, it has to be a minimum of 8 characters and it has to include a capital and a number and a symbol and a fucking dildo and a fucking has to include like a drawing made of like punctuation, has to include a hieroglyphic. You have to include at least a capital, a not a lowercase, something with an accent mark. Too many fucking, the art of the password. I wish I had a better password, I guess, but everything's like, well, did you try to sign in? We got a fucking notification. You tried to sign in from a new device. Was this you? Highlight this number on your YouTube. Go in, sign into your YouTube app on your phone. Did you try to sign into your Gmail on a new location? Go to your YouTube app on your phone and click yes. We sent you a 6-digit code. Enter the 6-digit code now. It's temporary. It only lasts 30 seconds. It will self-destruct. What the fuck are we? Too many goddamn passwords. It's like I remember this shit has like locked me out of my health insurance. It's locked me out of like just dumb shit like that, not being able to remember a password. There was an entire year of college that I missed because of my FAFSA. I couldn't remember my key on my FAFSA. That you had like this 4-digit number that was like your PIN number. It's like I couldn't remember it. So it's like I couldn't get into my FAFSA. So it's just like, oh, fuck it. I won't go to college this year. I can't remember my goddamn PIN number. I don't want to I don't want to spend all day on the phone with a fucking like phone, customer representative or whatever. Fuck that. I just won't go to college. That's why I'm a loser at life. Because I just cannot handle any online portals. I hate online portals. I do not want to email. I don't want to remember. I don't want to sign into my email on a new device. I hate buying things. I bought this fucking I hate buying things online. I bought this fucking power cord for my camera because last year they broke the fucking AC adapter. So this thing's been out of commission. So I finally got my shit together a year later because I have a kind of a traumatic relationship with money. It's hard for me to spend money. I literally do not buy anything. So buying this iPhone was a big deal and losing $5 was a big deal. And thank you. I'm not a loser on Monday night. So anyway, I finally went online and figured out what the best deal was. I spent $17 on fucking Walmart.com to buy a fucking third-party AC adapter for this thing. And 2 days later, I get an email that's like, there was some kind of price discrepancy or some shit. And we had to cancel your order. We'll give you your money back. It's like, Jesus Christ. It took me a couple hours to like fucking put the order in and goddamn sign up for an account and this and that. It's like now I'm not even gonna get the goddamn thing. I got to start from square one. Yeah, thank you for tuning into the open mic. Adam S has been watching the open mic on Monday nights, everybody. So We get, I think that this week's got 90 views. That's not bad. Um, I had fun. I thought it was a fun show. We did live stream it. Check it out online. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do this Monday. I've got to get this phone somehow. Some acts get muted. Hmm. Later, you mean, or at the time? Maybe I fucked up and I accidentally hit the mute button. Some of the shit I do get like copyright notifications usually. Like, even if somebody plays a cover, oh, some acts get muted by Adam S. That's hilarious. I wish everybody had I bet everybody wishes they had a mute button. You mute music stuff or do you mute other stuff? I'm just curious. I'm curious what the feedback is. I'm curious what the experience is for somebody who watches it who has never been, who's just sort of tuning in online. Like, I love YouTube live streaming venue. I think every venue should have a live stream. If you're a venue and you don't have a live stream, like you're not taking full advantage of your venue. Just put in some kind of it wouldn't even cost that much. Like put in some kind of little cheap camera and get some kind of direct sound from the board. I turned down some poetry and comedy acts. There you have it, people. Adam S turns down some poetry and comedy acts. There's some straight feedback for everybody. Yeah, I mean, that's only natural. I mean, I try to like put something for everybody. I try to have like as much variety of things that like there's going to be enough stuff that appeals to like normal people that like the weirder stuff or like poetry people probably don't like the comedy. The comedy probably doesn't like the poetry a lot of the time, but it's like um not always in every case and it's nice to have both. It's nice to like get uh to both extremes, and have both of those things in the conversation and in the freaking hell yeah. I love open mics. I think open mic culture is where it's at. The real culture, the real fucking culture is happening at goddamn open mics, I think, actually. I don't know. Or maybe there's a type. I don't know. I feel like maybe open mic is almost like a genre. Maybe it's dangerous to get caught in the open mic circuit. It's not necessarily you don't have to play open mics ever, actually. You don't really need to do that. You could theoretically have an entire huge career and never play an open mic ever in your life. But I like the fact that everybody sort of brings something to share if they want to. And the like, hey, let's put on a show quality. The impromptu quality, I think. I like, it's like, you want to catch something impromptu, really. There's a magic to spontaneity. Being in front of everybody, being seen, being showcased. I mean, I know, not everybody is necessarily loving the downstairs. I'm getting, some feedback about that. But I like the idea of having a space that's like a big town hall where everybody can come and sort of like see the community and the culture reflected back at them on stage in a way that's both local but also like a little bit more on a bigger scale. Like the upstairs is nice, I think, for the artists and for the social aspect and for like the cauldron of organization and intimacy and eroticism of performance. And so that's essential. That building was a fucking like organizing hall for like socialists and stuff. It was this Ukrainian immigrant headquarters, and they would literally make fucking newspapers and shit. So it has that in its DNA. It has that. It's designed for gatherings, for connections to be made, for conspiracy, for intimate conversations and plans to be hatched and scheming. And it's got that feel. It has this feel of like confidential exchange, making big fucking plans, making partnerships. There you go. Well, with the open mic, I think it plays into that. I think it 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 encourages that, and it harbors that activity. That's what that space, that's what it has in its bones. It's got that, it's got that, the dimensions of that. It's got the patina of that. It's got uh the bones, right? They say like it's good bones or whatever, the bones of the place. It's like, yeah, the bones are there to like hold people. It's a hall, it's a union hall. And so, for entertainers, for artists to use it for a creative purpose, I think that upstairs room in particular inspires, people to meet each other. It's a place that allows like a stew. Um the downstairs is more of a theater. I mean, it's literally a theater, a MAGA act. I mean, some of the comedians are that way, like it's less now, I guess, because I'm a little bit more on guard against that or like aware. I mean, particularly after the election. I mean, I'm pretty outspoken on this about how I feel politically and how I connect comedy with right wing politics. And so I think a lot of the comedians probably like think that I hate them or something, or uh it's we definitely have had that, like Peter Glissman, not to name any names. He's not really MAGA. In fact, I think, but a lot of his act is about how he's a Republican, but he'd like to vote for a Republican. Can you find any and all this kind of stuff? Like he's not a Trumper, I don't think. So it's like he'll go up on stage and talk about, his point of view is kind of an old-fashioned white guy compared to, your average, Gen Z or millennial, woke leftist poetry. Oh, this was another thing I wanted to talk about. How the woman in Minnesota was a poet and a prize-winning poet. She won this fucking American Academy of Dramatic Arts, which I guess Ashley was saying that like every school gives one of these away. Every school has their Academy of American Poet like award or something that they give away. Like Bennington had one. Ashley was pissed because she didn't win it. She kept talking about how she didn't win this fucking award and blah blah blah. And it's like I didn't even know it existed. But this woman who got shot did win it. See, I don't even know if my phone is working anymore. The service might just be off. Um, I mean, how crazy is it that it's like this lesbian poet? I don't know. Was she an MFA or was she a professor? Was she an adjunct? I don't. I think that that's just like people that kind of take themselves seriously, who are leftists, who are conscientious. I think there's a lot of people who just like self-style themselves as poets now. In Brooklyn, I mean, practically everybody's a poet. You know, it's like there was this guy in Bed-Stuy or something who got stabbed who was a poet, and like his girlfriend was a poet. This was what they talked about in the article. You know, like this guy was a poet. He got stabbed and died in on Atlantic Avenue or something, Fulton. I don't remember. And then his girlfriend was a poet. It's like Jesus Christ. It's just like I think everybody in Brooklyn is a poet, or a lot of them. Um, I don't know, people that are really, former gifted kids or people who were in AP or something, or uh, it's like the Glass family thing, right? The Salinger, the best, the ideal of the Glass family and this kind of like intellectual, enlightened spiritual family is to like be a sort of like this saint poet, like Seymour Glass. He's a professor at Columbia. He's a real poet, like there's not that many, once a generation is there like an actual poet. And so he's like this kind of secular, Upper West Side, Morningside Heights intellectual, uh like holy monk or something. Uh and it's sort of like a narcissistic, the way that Holden Caulfield and says all of Salinger's stuff is this sort of like narcissistic, self-absorbed, cynical, kind of frustrated at whatever the loss of innocence or the corruption, the phonies. The Glass family, they're these sort of like superhuman gifted, like the Tenenbaum, that's based on the Glass family. The Glass family are like child prodigy, graduated Ivy League when they were like teenagers, 16, and literary, Zoe Glass is an actor. They're all professors, they're all monks. Uh, and I don't know. I mean, maybe it is the most serious thing you can be, or if you take yourself, maybe it's the most pretentious thing you can be. Why are there so many poets? Is there an unusual amount of poets? I think that's a good thing in a way. Is that because of Instagram poetry? Is it glamorous to be a poet? Has the internet enabled that? Has the internet like, you know, mass produced our subjectivity in a more individualized fuller way. Um, I think that's cool in a way, and I'm one of these people that just sort of like, there's always like an imposter syndrome with poetry or something where it's like, am I a real poet? When do you become a real poet? How do you know? It's such a pretentious kind of highfalutin thing to assume or claim. Uh, that's why New York is such a good city for it because it's something that is very real here. It really has there's a whole life to that here. You can get a job doing that. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of other poets who are actively working and doing readings and consuming poetry and thinking about poetry and trying to live, whatever that means. Their lives are informed by poetry. Um, I think it's like another form of social media performance uh, uh, style or something. It's like, what are you? You're not a comedian. You're not a filmmaker. You're not an actor. You're a writer, but you don't write fiction. It's like the fucking Red Scare people are poets. It's weird. The fucking Angelicism is a wannabe poet and or whatever. I don't know. Uh, it's good. Uh, and it's scary that this is the woman who got shot because she is familiar. Even though I never knew her before, but like you know, she is one of us. She's one of the it's considered romantic to be a poet from the everyday person. Yeah, I think, it's a glamorous. I think it's also like, a lot of it is female, like women are, it's a way to talk about your emotions. It's a way to write from, kind of more emotional, strange, illogical place. You can write from place of your feelings. It's like sharing. There's a sensuality to the language that that helps activate those feelings. And so, not that men don't appreciate that, but I would say that like, there's probably 10 fucking female poets for every like one straight male poet practically that I see. Um I don't know if that's because men aren't drawn to that or they're afraid of that or uh maybe there really isn't a reason why, but men seem to be drawn to stand-up comedy and podcasting. And stand-up comedy is sort of all about like avoiding your feelings or like turning your feelings just into like a joke, dissociating through humor. Whereas like poetry is about it can be a way of like really sinking in and recognizing what you're feeling and connecting it with something that's like uh going to allow it to be what it is rather than trying to make it funny or, you know, this little squirt of uh hostility or self-deprecation or whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's crazy that this woman was a poet. It feels significant. Um, but I also feel like poet has become just like this sort of packaged identity that people want to assume because it has a cachet. And it's sort of like a shelter from real life. Like if you can make money because your poetry is valuable enough to provide you with, like, a living. And there it feels like there's more opportunity for that through things like these prizes, these MFA programs, adjunct professorships. There's more opportunities for a livelihood now because of this kind of pyramid scheme of selling people the idea, poetry work, teaching poetry workshops, selling people, the idea that they too can become adjunct poetry professors and teach, English 100 or whatever the hell it is, composition, and just be a part of the kind of like university industry. It's a growth industry. We frown on men who physically abuse women, and rightfully so. What about what the cop did to that woman? I mean, it's just crazy to me that, like, they have hyped people up and prepped them so hard that that guy thought that that was even like remotely appropriate. Like, he felt like, it was not an act of like self-defense. And even if it was nowhere near like what the appropriate method of like protecting yourself would be. Like, the first thing I'm going to do is shoot you in the face. There's even the most remote, like, and it's like we have this insane, like pro cop mentality where it's like you can't do anything to a cop, or that's just like the most, anything's justified. um and it's like, I mean, they're clearly provoking people. They're in the middle of the fucking like residential neighborhood, like pulling people over, stopping people, obstructing traffic, causing fucking stress, unrest, bad energy. It's like we should be so far from this, is, especially from handling, conflict mediation or whatever it is. It's like, uh the way that they talk about the protesters or whatever is like, they're frothing at the bit to kill these fucking people. They want to be able to kill these people. It's like, this lady didn't ask for this. She was just on her way home or way to fucking pick up her kids or whatever. they're provoking them. They're in these people's neighborhoods. They shouldn't even fucking be there. It's just amazing how willing the small government people are to give up their rights, to look the other way. They love law enforcement. It's like this is an occupying army basically that's not wanted there. People don't want that. It's like, where's your "don't tread on me" people? They support it. And it's vicious the way they talk about us. They can't wait to kill us. I mean, that was just a completely insane, irresponsible, knee jerk fucking thing to do. I don't know. People are just desensitized. People think we're living in Call of Duty or something. Just shoot them. Just shoot them in the face. Like that's a reasonable solution to anything. Ever. When is that ever? He had to shoot her in the face. She was trying to run him over. It's insane. I mean, I think this is only the beginning. I don't really think, the news cycle, it's every couple days, it's some new crazy fucking thing. Next thing, they're probably going to bomb Iran. They kidnapped Maduro. What the hell else was it? The Epstein files. It's like it was a fucking, middle-aged white woman driving an SUV. Like, you need to shoot? In what mindset is that even close to being like a reasonable action in this situation? What are you're going to shoot this woman? Shoot this lesbian poet leftist. She's probably got a Palestinian flag in her bio. What are her fucking pronouns? Shoot first, ask pronouns later. Shoot first, figure out the pronouns later. These professors. Well, there was something I was like, Nixon was talking about the professors are the enemy. The war on higher education. Anti-intellectualism. ICE. Let's give all of the worst people some, a black budget. Yeah, there you go. Poor lady. I mean, there were protests. People came to the streets for that. I don't know what it is, but it takes a cop shooting somebody. This seems to be what our society's like, the flashpoint. Anytime the cop shoots somebody. And it was a white woman, right? I mean, that's what these Fox News people really get pissed off about. It's like a white woman got stabbed on the train. White woman got shot in the face. But she was a lesbian poet, so. She was Antifa. She was a radical leftist terrorist. The terrorists must be wiped out, okay? We are the terrorists. They're going to take all of the 9/11 rhetoric and they're going to turn it against us. Your YouTube page is terrorist. We found your terrorist vlogs. We found your terrorist poetry zines. Your terrorist anti-Trump poetry zines. And vlogs from 2016 that nobody ever watched until the fucking ICE agents found them. Well, I mean, apparently they said they're going door to door certain places. ICE is literally going door to door. What are they going to do when they find my YouTube page? Are they going to throw me into fucking alligator Alcatraz? God, I just want to outlive Trump. Apparently, he's like degenerating quickly. That video of, did you see the video of him looking out the window talking about his ballroom? I mean, he does seem like he's losing his fucking mind. And so Stephen Miller's in charge, everybody. He's assumed the power. He's the acting president. He's assumed the powers of the full powers of the office. Stephen Miller. Yay, yippee. Just think, just 1 year ago, we were dancing to YMCA. The motherfucker wasn't even the president yet. We're not dancing anymore, are we? I mean, anything could goddamn happen, and soon. This Iran thing is kind of crazy. Apparently, they're about to overthrow their government. Is that like a reaction to what Steve Miller Steve Miller banned? Fuck Steve Miller band. They suck. I hate their immigration policies. That Stephen Miller band. Fucking fly like an eagle my ass. I hate their white supremacist 70s groovy rock music. The Stephen Miller Project. I mean, I hate to say it, but I do like Steve Miller Band. I'll take Steve Miller Band, and I will pass on Stephen Miller. I'm a joker. I bet Stephen Miller does not like Steve Miller Band. Any case, fucking Steve Miller Band in the White House, the fascist White House. The Nazis came through Steve Miller Band. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought Steve Miller Band were going to be fascists? I had no idea that they were Nazis. I had no idea that they hated brown people. They were white supremacists. I just thought they made groovy tunes. Do. Steve Miller Band. In any case, Trump's losing his fucking mind. He has to start a war. Stephen Miller, the fascist. I see shit about Stephen Miller increasingly more so because apparently he's making a lot of these decisions and he's one of the most vocal. He just wants to do anal. What is that about? That is fucking strange. I mean, these guys are all fucking weirdos sexually. I think that's the one thing the Republican Party has in common at this point is that they're all fucking sexual deviants. He hates vagina. Makes sense. I believe that. That makes actually a lot of sense. Stephen Miller completely, I totally 100% believe that he hates vagina. I think it hates him too. He's into getting farted on. See, what is these guys have weird well, not to kink shame anybody. We shouldn't kink shame Stephen Miller just because he likes to get farted on. But like these billionaires and shit, supposedly they like to get shit in their mouth, or like look at Vince McMahon. He took a shit on somebody's head. When you have that much power and money, I mean, Stephen Miller, God knows, he just seems like he's probably traumatized or something, right? The way he was raised by Nazis or something. He was probably molested. Let's just get real about Stephen Miller, okay? That's why he wants to fucking destroy America and kill all of us. Because he can't deal with his secret homosexuality. He's actually a big gay. They're all just gay, okay? Trump's gay. JD Vance is gay. RFK Jr.'s gay. They just can't deal with it. They can't confront. I mean, JD Vance is clearly gay. Look at him. Look at his fucking the conditioner that he puts in his beard and the fucking mascara. JD Vance clearly takes it up the ass. I'm sorry. He's a power bottom. He's not even a power bottom. He likes to get spanked and shit like that. Supposedly Jay Leno liked getting spanked. That's the most interesting thing I heard about Jay Leno until I saw Jay Leno Garage. Was supposedly Jay Leno, because he's like this famous workaholic and he's kind of like he works clean. He's not a womanizer. He doesn't drink. He's not a drug addict. It's like, what the fuck? What's the deal with Jay Leno? What's his fucking dark Hollywood secret? Supposedly he likes dominatrix shit. He likes getting bossed around and shit like that. Mitch McConnell supposedly too was he liked getting spanked and shit. Getting his ass tortured by women, by dominant not that there's anything wrong with that. Not that there's anything wrong with a little ass torture. Apparently Stephen Miller's into ass torture. I'll bet Trump is into ass torture. I mean, he's probably a real fucking he likes it all. He likes golden showers. That's his thing. He likes getting pissed on. No, we all know Trump likes having sex with like, prepubescent. They have the Lolita. They have every day is another wonderful secret. So it's evil and dark out there, everybody. But we're DIY on the internet. We're DIY on YouTube, speaking our fucking righteous truth to whoever's out there. I've got 2 likes. One of them was me. One of the likes was my own like. I mean, I don't know. These fucking the YouTube life, I tell you, it's up and down. You never know. It is a roulette. Sometimes you like, okay, my video the other day, 24 views, but I got 5 likes. I made that shit up about Steve Miller. Okay, so Steve Miller does not like to get farted on, huh? Shit. I guess we should have fact checked that. That's okay. I mean, that's as legit as anything that happens on Rogan. Who cares if it's fake? They make shit up all the time. It's alternative facts, okay? We just have a set of alternative facts about Stephen Miller. An unmarked black SUV just went through the lot. Uh-oh. They know you're listening to my subversive radio program out of Manhattan. My guerrilla radio. Isn't there a fucking Rage Against the Machine song, Guerrilla Radio? Yeah, my guerrilla radio Upper West Side, Radio Free Upper West Side. Transmission, Third World War, third round, a decade of the weapon of sound above ground. No shelter if you're looking for shade. I lick shots at the brutal charade as the polls close like a casket on truth devoured. A silent play in the shadow of power, a spectacle monopolized. The camera's eyes on choice disguised. Was it cast for the mass? This is kind of like a poem, actually. It sounds like a slam poem. Was it cast for the mass who burn and toil, or for the vultures whose thirst for blood and oil? Yes, a spectacle monopolized. They hold the reins and stole yours. I mean, what does it say that all the people who listen to Rage Against the Machine are Trumpers now? They all love Tucker Carlson. I bet Tucker Carlson is a huge Rage Against the Machine fan. I love Zach De La Roca. He was at the White House. He was at the big oil meeting. Tucker was there shaking hands. He doesn't give a fuck. He's one of them, okay? He is them. Tucker, look at his little bow tie, all right? You want to talk about deep state media plant. I thought Rage was lame because of the fans. Thank you, Adam S. See, this is why I fuck with Adam S. Because you know your shit. I agree. Everybody that I knew was who was a Rage Against the Machine fan was like had rich parents or they were rich. It's like you're not a fucking like class warrior. You're just a fucking you hate your parents. You hate your rich parents. I mean, I know it's not the same thing, but like these guys on the golf team whose parents were like members at like Scioto Country Club, which is like a racist white. They were talking about how much they love Pearl Jam, and they were talking about how one of their friends like met Eddie Vedder like on a beach somewhere, and they were like, "Wow, that's the coolest thing ever." It's like you are fucking lame. You're like Reaganite, Rush Limbaugh, fucking like right wing golf team douchebags. Like you like Pearl Jam. Like Eddie Vedder fucking hates you. I'm sorry, but you're everything Eddie Vedder like hates. Like that's how Rage Against the Machine fans are to me. Like David Benton was into Rage Against the Machine. He was a drug dealer in high school. He was cool. During a Trump protest in 2016 in downtown Seattle, I saw a skateboarder bombing a hill screaming rage lyrics. What? Yeah, I mean, it's a bunch of fat white suburban guys who are like computer programmers and shit now. And they're Republicans. They watch, their parents like watch Fox News and shit. And so it's like they're as responsible for Trump as anybody. Sleep now in the fire. It's just sad that people have like this like nostalgia for Rage Against the Machine. Like, when will they come back? Like, oh my god, if Rage Against the Machine just came back, like, oh my god, like when they came back at Lollapalooza. Like Rage Against the Machine is maybe the last band that has that kind of like legacy media power. Like Nirvana, obviously, but like Kurt Cobain, right, is dead. But like Rage Against the Machine, it's like people still think that music is like could start a fucking revolution or something, or like a riot. And it's like the only thing I remember about goddamn Rage Against the Machine. Well, I remember the goddamn video at the stock market where it's got Al Gore's face and Bush's face, and then they like meld the two together so they're like one person. So Rage Against the Machine's message was like this super deep, like both sides are the same thing. And that was Al Gore and George Bush. So it's like they always seem to be coming from a privileged point of view where it's like, we're not even going to participate in electoral politics because, like, we need a fucking revolution. Like, we're Che Guevara or something. And it's like, they inspired a bunch of fucking apathetic white people to be like, vote for Bush probably because they thought Bush was like the lesser of two evils or they were the same. And it's like, it's so fucking clear that Al Gore we'd be living in a different fucking world today if Al Gore had been elected. And yet, Rage Against the Machine, people acted like, oh, these guys are so fucking like smart. Like they're not participating in like the bullshit corporate duopoly. Like it's all the same shit. It's that's the argument they still make. That was the same argument they made about Kamala, basically, was like, she's worse than Trump. Like, it's the lesser of two evils. At least Trump is like something different. And it's just like, that seems like a sophisticated, like, the correct point of view or something. But it's like, thanks a lot, Rage Against the Machine. Thanks a fucking lot. You're the reason why George W. Bush got elected. You caused 9/11. In an indirect way, Rage Against the Machine caused 9/11. I mean, they'd probably be proud to take credit for 9/11. They'd probably be like, yeah, we fucking did that shit. It's just so sad to me because these bands are only getting. I mean, Kurt Cobain has been dead for over 30 years. And people act like Nirvana is like some current band that's like cool to like. It's like it was over 30 fucking years ago. Rage Against the Machine was like 30 years ago. Like they're not coming back. And even if they did, they'd be old. Like, I don't know who's making hard hitting, rap metal funk beats. Rage Against the Machine in a certain way was just like Red Hot Chili Peppers, except like they were activists. Their musical technique is not that different. They're sort of like a rap funk band. And they just like they benefit from like a unity of the syncopation. Tom Morello is an interesting guitar player, and their rhythm section is hits real hard. I don't know why there aren't bands like that anymore. Why aren't there bands that mean anything? Is Geese as good as fucking Rage Against the Machine? Is Cameron Winter the new Zach De La Rocha? Society doesn't seem capable of making music that is that compressed. Nova Twins, okay? Thanks for the recommendation. Do you have any music in particular? Oh, I've been watching Alan Jackson, Tiny Desk concert. Okay. Alan Jackson has a bar in Nashville, AJ's Good Time Bar. And they have a live stream. I recommend people check out AJ's Good Time Bar. Live from AJ's. I just love that Alan Jackson has a bar. I totally want to go to Nashville and go to Alan Jackson's bar. I love Alan Jackson. I love George Strait. I love Alan Jackson. Uh, what the hell was I gonna say? I mean, I'll take Alan Jackson over Rage Against the Machine in a this or that video. I'll take Alan Jackson. I don't think Rage Against the Machine caused any. After 9/11, that energy kind of went away, and all of the like patriotic fervor and like military ramp up after 9/11, all of the anti-establishment kind of like rage against. I mean, maybe Michael Moore, and then it all got kind of co-opted into Obama. And then Obama destroyed America, obviously. It's all Obama's fault. It all went downhill because of Obama. Obama fucked it all up. Just kidding. It's my Trump impression. Michael Moore was leftist Alex Jones. That's a good take. I mean, I just don't think Fahrenheit 9/11 was like as good of a movie as everybody said it was. Like it won the fucking Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. It's like uh I'm glad Michael Moore exists. Uh I think he doesn't necessarily the Republicans figured out how to just like caricature those people and make them irrelevant. Like Michael Moore became just, I mean, he's easy to make fun of because he's a fat, kind of gayish, weird looking, Muppet looking fucking, he sounds weird. He's easy to you when you put Michael Moore in a group with Rachel Maddow and all of the fucking kind of like Al Sharpton and all the crazy left MSNBC, Keith Oberman. It's just, I don't know. They're all Rob Reiner, RIP. I mean, it suddenly became extremely uncool to be an actor who talked about politics. Sean Penn, like there was a video from Red Scare. Actors should shut their mouths. In South Park. South Park gets so much fucking mileage about making fun of actors who are like political. Like Team America. Half that fucking movie was like torching actors that were like liberal Hollywood. Alec Baldwin, Matt Damon. Matt Damon's like retarded in the movie. And every libertarian South Park bro saw that and thought, yeah, being liberal is fucking gay. Look how lame they are. They try to tell us what to think. These Hollywood elitists, their movies suck. They make these woke, stupid movies. They should shut their fucking mouths and make better movies. We don't care what their politics are. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is the fucking president, a game show host from NBC. Oh, but he's different. He's different than those Hollywood fucking fags. Pardon my French. All the, Illuminati, Jew run Hollywood. Trump's different. He's not he's not part of the Illuminati, fucking Scientology, Diddy parties, whatever the hell goes on out in Hollywood. the initiation ceremonies. Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll get off pretty soon. It is 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time again. Hey, tired. So, I don't know. We're in for it this year. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? Who knows if we'll survive? Maybe they'll just kill all of us. I mean, they have the weapons. I wouldn't put it past the Steve Miller Band. Thanks for watching, Adam S. Hopefully, some other people watch us someday on some other planet. After our planet gets exploded by Trump nuclear insanity. Trump accidentally nukes the human race. Because of dementia. All right, you hang in there too. Have fun at work or you're doing good. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon. We're so far so good. You know.